Everyone says owning a home is the smart thing to do. It's like the final step of adulthood. But what if I told you buying a house could actually hurt your finances and your freedom? Yeah, I know that sounds shocking, but my partner and I ran the numbers and we decided not to buy a house. Not because we can't, but because it just doesn't make financial sense. Let's talk about why. Hi, I'm Zan. I talk about queer money, investing, and financial freedom without the guilt, jargon, or hustle culture. This video is not anti home ownership, it's pro math. Because in a world where prices are wild, wages haven't kept up, and interest rates are sky high, the old American dream doesn't look like much of a dream anymore. And I want to show you how you can build real wealth even if you are never going to buy a house. Part one, the dream that we've been sold. If you close your eyes and picture success, what do you see? Like probably a cute house, maybe a little yard, maybe a dog, maybe a rainbow flag by the porch. But here's the truth. That picture didn't come from your imagination. It was sold to us. Decades of marketing from mortgage lenders, realtors, and literal banks turned home ownership into moral achievement. After World War II, the government literally subsidized white families to buy homes through the GI Bill, while redlining kept Black and queer families locked out. So, for a lot of us, that dream was never built for us in the first place. Now, fast forward to 2025. That same dream house that cost your grandparents 2 to 3 times their income now costs 6 to 10 times yours. And we're still told that it's the smart thing to do. Let's make this real. Say you make $60,000 a year. If we use your parents' ratio, 2.5 times income, your house should cost $150,000. Good luck finding that anywhere in a near major city. The reality, that house probably costs 400,000 or more. That's 6 times your income before maintenance, taxes, and insurance. And yet, people still repeat the same advice from 1985 as if the math hasn't changed. Part two, the myths about owning a home. Let's break down the biggest myths we've all been fed. Myth number one, real estate always goes up. Nope. True that housing prices tend to go upward over the long term, but that's mostly due to inflation, not guaranteed profit. Just ask the people who bought in 2007 right before the crash, or the folks right now sitting on 7% interest rates trying to sell in a high supply market. Myth number two, you're throwing away money on rent. Okay, I hear this one all the time, but think about it. Would you say the same thing about eating out? You're throwing away money paying that restaurant's rent. No, you're paying for convenience and time. Renting is the same. You're buying flexibility and freedom. Here's our math. We pay about $3,000 a month in rent. If we bought a similar sized place in our area, it would cost us closer to $4,800 a month once you factor in mortgage, taxes, insurance, HOA, and maintenance. That's $1,800 difference. Instead of throwing it away on a house we cannot afford, we invest it, some in a high yield savings account, some in index funds. And that money grows without any leaky roof emergency or surprise water heater replacement. Love it. Myth number three, owning saves you on taxes. Okay, that used to be true, not anymore. Since 2018, the standard deduction nearly doubled. Most people don't even itemize deductions, which means they can't actually claim their mortgage interest. So unless you're buying a $1 million house with a jumbo loan, that tax write-off is basically gone. Myth number four, owning builds wealth. This one's kind of half true, but dangerously oversimplified. Owning can build wealth, but it's not automatic because most people forget about what I call the phantom costs of home ownership. Stuff like closing costs, thousands upfront, property taxes, 2 to 3% of your home value every year, home insurance, maintenance and repairs, which rule of thumb, 1 to 2% of your home's value per year, and the time that you spend fixing, maintaining, and worrying about it. That time adds up. Even if your home goes up in value, those phantom costs can eat into your profit. And don't forget opportunity costs. That down payment that you put on into the house, like let's say $80,000, could be earning compound interest in the S&P 500. Over 30 years, that same $80,000 could grow to more than $500,000 if invested instead. Part 3. Why renting can be a financial power move. So let's talk about renting and why we do it proudly. When something breaks, we text our landlord. When property taxes rise, we don't stress. If one of us gets a job in another city, we can just change scenery. We can move without selling a house. That is freedom. But here's the key difference between renting smart and renting broke. If you're going to rent long term, you have to invest the difference. Otherwise, yes, you're just spending. Here's how we do it. Every month, we automatically transfer the money we're saving by renting, about $1,500 to $2,000, into a high-yield savings account and our investment accounts. We think of it as paying ourselves rent. And because of compound growth, that money doesn't just sit there. It multiplies. Part 4. The true cost of buying. Let's break it down. When you buy, your costs include mortgage principal and interest, property taxes, homeowners insurance, HOA fees, if any, maintenance and repairs, closing costs, and opportunity costs, what that money could have earned elsewhere. Now, let's say your monthly mortgage payment is about $2,500. Add another $500 for taxes, $200 for insurance, $300 for repairs and maintenance, and $100 for HOA. That's $3,600 a month, every month, compared to renting for $2,000. That's $1,600 difference. Invested monthly for 30 years at a 7% average return, that's $1.8 million. That's why we say no thanks to the forever home myth. We'd rather have a forever freedom plan. Part 5. Emotional pressure and queer money. Let's be real. The pressure to buy a home isn't just financial, it is emotional. We grew up hearing renting is temporary or you're wasting money. And as queer people, that can sting even more. Because for many of us, we've spent years trying to prove that we're responsible, stable, and doing it right. Buying a house almost feels like a social validation, uh, being equal. But equality doesn't mean that we're doing what straight America told us to do in the 1950s. It means building a life that actually fits us, financially, emotionally, and authentically. We chose flexibility, not debt. We chose peace, not property stress. And that's what financial freedom really means to us. Part 6. When buying actually might make sense. Now, I am not anti-buying. I am pro-awareness. Buying can make sense if you plan on staying at least 10 years, you've saved at least 20% down, it's less than 30% of your gross income, you're not depending on appreciation to make it worth it, you're buying because you want to, not because you feel like you have to. We'll probably buy one day too when the math works for us and when it fits our life that we're building together. Until then, we're investing, saving, and sleeping easy without worrying about it, without worrying about mortgage rates, property taxes, or busted plumbing. So yeah, renting isn't failure. It's just a different kind of freedom. And if you're building wealth your own way, queer, creative, and unapologetic, then you're doing it right. If you found this helpful, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.